Hey everyone, happy Friday. I just wanted to hop on here and give you a little story about the past Lynn and how it's led to the Lynn I am today. And frankly, the way it's leading me into being something that I hope I am even better at. But what happened is, and I want you to think if this sort of reminds you of your situation. So 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was in a position where I was coming out of a season in my life, a just one of those seasons that us women go through. And this season was me marking my exit into staying home with my kids. I don't know if you know this about me, but I actually homeschooled my kids for 10 years. So 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, my sons were all going off to high school, and it was time for me to move on from that position of being home in the house, being a teacher, being their mom, and absolutely loving it. But it was time for me to move on into a new season of my life. And this is what I want you to think about. This is the question I want to ask you to think about to see if it resonates with you, to what was happening to me back then. And here's what it was. I was in a position where it was time for me to move on into a new season, but I had no idea what that season looked like. What was it? What was that season going to look like? I kind of lost myself. I had went from a confident woman into a woman who completely embraced motherhood and all of that entailed, and I sort of lost Lynn. And that season that started almost 6 years ago had me questioning, was I good at anything? What were my gifts? What were my talents? Who was Lynn? Who was this new Lynn? And I started to get this feeling in myself about having to prove that I was worthy or that I could do something. So when it was time for me to get back into the workplace, I was determined to prove to my husband that I could make some money, that I could be a strong person in the family financially. So have you ever been in that position where you just wanted to prove yourself? And those of you that know me well, I am all about not having to prove ourselves and not having it be a contest where there's a winner and there's a loser. But I felt like that 5.5 years ago. I wanted to prove that I can do it, that I could do it. And lo and behold, I got myself into a field of work that I did start to find out who Lynn was. I did start to find out some of these gifts and talents that I had. So my message, I think, today is to not give up on yourself, to dig deeper and find out what are those gifts and talents, just like I had to do. And I think I'm going to get off here in just a second, and I'm going to continue this story on another day and let you know just how I did discover who I was. But I think my underlying message would be to not give up on searching for yourself because you're worth it, to not settle. I'm all about not settling, to aim high, to always become better than what you were. And that's what I set out to prove. Again, there's that word prove, 5.5 years ago. And I'll tell you more about how I pulled myself out of that position and how I'm in this position that I am today. But in the meantime, if you are interested in learning how to do some of that, pulling out your confidence, learning to be confident, learning to step out of your comfort zone the way I had to do. If you're interested in that and you'd like to be added to a group that I started on Facebook it's actually called The Confident Woman, just write your name below and I will add you to that group. And that group is going to be all about stepping out of our comfort zone, stepping into our calling, our gifts, dreaming again, setting our sights higher than lower, not settling. So anyway, I will continue this story another day. If this sounds at all familiar to what you're going through, this need to prove yourself, this need to find out who you are, just comment below. If you want to be added to that page, I can do the same, do that same thing. Thank you guys.